That's okay, now it's red. The next time, okay? No, 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 no.
Do you want to say something?
Sure. So we are basically protesting the abysmal human right record that Pakistan has. So there is like tremendous amount of atrocities that are being committed on the Hindu minority girls in Pakistan, and we are protesting against that. And we really expect Pakistan to uphold the human rights of the Hindu minority community and do the right thing and make sure that these things don't happen.
Do you think it's the duty of every citizen to do to help these girls?
Absolutely. I
So,
think
how can we make their life help these
Yeah,
girls?
it's a pretty abysmal record of Pakistan that the minorities have been able to be tortured and converted to Islam against their wishes. So yeah, we stand against such atrocities committed to the teenage girls abducted without the permission and then converted to Islam and then married over to the mullahs. So Pakistan better take action on this.
And also, like, we want to say that we live in US,
Yeah.
and we want the US government to watch this and know that this is happening in that country. And whenever they are funding them and supporting this country, they should put some conditions for sure that you'll only get our support and funds when at least people have their human rights. People have, like, there should be gender equality. Right to follow the religion they want. Do you want to say something?
I would just like to say that the US government should stop funding Pakistan. Every year, at least thousand minority girls. This includes Hindus, Christians, Sikhs. They are getting kidnapped, abused, raped, and forcefully converted. So I would just like to request US government to stop funding Pakistan.
You want to say something?
Yeah, it is really very bad to see what is happening around. In the name of religion, there is a lot of atrocity on girls who have, who possibly might have a very bright future, which is lost in the reality, while they are forced to convert and forced to accept a religion which they don't even know about, and through generations that whole personality is lost for them, and they totally lose their culture. It's very, very sad to see this. Hopefully there will be a change as in the name of human rights. We possibly can do something to this women who are in the land where there is no human rights remained. Thank you.
You want to say something?
It's really, really sad that how the women are treated in Pakistan, especially Hindu women, and it's just totally unfair. Pakistani governments or Islamic laws make so many discriminative ways for Hindu girls, and because of the 18, 19 years old girl may get into love and all that, they make them into
converting to other faith, and it's a one-way street. When somebody convert in out of passion, whatever, it's a one-way street. Then it's a really severe punishment. So it should not be that way. It should be equality, respect for all, and this conversion business should end. This is really sad, sick ideology. To convert somebody because you don't belong to us, that's inhumane. That's not pluralism, respect for others. That we are the supreme, the others are kafir. It's a wrong ideology, and it should end. And it should end today. And it's not only Pakistan. It's same going on even in San Jose today. A Hindu and Muslim marriage, Hindu has to convert. Yeah, at least in 90-95% of the cases. And that's just insane ideology. Every Hindu or everybody should work stopping this religious conversion for marriage.
They should have gender equality, right to freedom of religion.
Right.
And yes, thank you so much.
Sorry for too long.
No, it's fine. Yeah.
And we can keep this on.
Oh, can you say that?
By the way, this is Dr. Dilip Amin. I have written 2 books on interfaith marriages. I have guided 1,200 youths around the world on interfaith love relationships. So I know it well. Anybody in love relationship, Muslims, if it is a Hindu, Hindu must convert for that Islamic nikah. You have to take shahadat and then convert it. If you are Christians or Jew, meaning book of the people of the book, they may not ask for conversion, but children must be the other food. So it's so unfair practice that the harvesting future generation has to be Muslim. Why so? Everybody follow God. Everybody are godly people. So it's an insane practice and has to be changed.
Yeah, in these cases, the girls are like taken away from their families too, mostly because then they cannot get back to the families. I would like to get your contact number.
Sure.
Because I'll just.
Yep.
Do you want to say something?
All the minorities in Pakistan need to be saved, need to be protected, and we need to speak up for them. They don't have a voice just now, and least we can do is to support them.
You want to say something? You want to say something?
Yeah, human rights is the fundamental right of every human being anywhere in the world. Rights are clearly being taken away from minorities in Pakistan. It's the duty of every American to come together and solve for this problem. Thank you.
You want to say something?
I request US government to take action. Help us. All the minorities are getting impacted in Pakistan and none of the governments are taking action. So I request all the governments to take action, please.
I want to request my government in the US to take cognizance of this brutality and help save the minorities in Pakistan.
Hi, thank you for being here. We are here supporting the girls in Pakistan, the little girls in Pakistan who are instead of being able to enjoy a life, happy
happiness with their own families and their own kids. Instead, they're thrown away from their parents at a very young age and forced into a life in total hell. And so we're here just standing in solidarity with them to hopefully bring a little bit of awareness as to what's happening. If the police get them having feelings.
So as you can see, there are so many people here who are protesting to save our Hindu girls in Pakistan. They are being abducted, assaulted, tortured, raped, and forced to convert. And these are young girls who like should be staying with their family, who should get the right to education, who should be studying, playing, having fun, the right to choose their career, the right to choose their life partner. Everything is taken away from them, and then they're taken away from their families. I mean, forget the right to religion. This is not even, they are not even getting the right to a decent life. They are tortured every day. Most of these girls come out and say that it's better to die than to live this kind of life. And even though after a lot of protests, there are some laws that exist in that area, but still those laws are not implemented at all. And that is why so many people here are protesting today and asking the whole world, at least we are trying to spread awareness that people know how these girls are being treated in that area. And when these big countries like US government, when they support countries like Pakistan, they have that support, that funding has to come with some accountability, has to come with some terms and conditions that the people in your country will be treated as humans. You want to say something?
Yeah. I want to say, I want to raise the awareness what's going on in Pakistan against minority communities of girls, and a lot of them are underage. They are continuously being abducted. It's covered in a lot of media, but nobody's talking about it. This is very sad. It is very sad for humanity, and how one religion is suppressing all minority in Pakistan. I think we should always wise, and I think a lot of pressure should be put in on the leadership across the world. And look at this picture, and this is a picture of a girl who was again abducted, and they are forcibly converted. So this is very, very sad and very inhuman that's going on.
So, as far as the Pakistan is concerned, most of the Western world know that finding Osama bin Laden and then having some terrorist connections and kind of activities going on there as well. But most importantly, the government of the Pakistan also supports or does not even try to protect the minorities community, which is really, really inhumane. And the people in the Pakistan, as well as the government of the Pakistan, needs to do a lot to protect the minorities, especially the Christians, Hindus, Buddhists, Sikhs. This is one of an example, as I rightly said by my friend, that the girls in the Pakistans especially are being forced under their rules and laws to marry people in specific in Islamic way, as well as to the people who support Islam. So I think the lawmakers here in US has to really awake and do something to at least protect the rights of minorities and force the Pakistan government to really act, not just do words but also act. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And as you can see, this is the picture of a real girl. She's a kid, I would say, Ravita. She's 16 years old, and it reads, according to Ravita's parents, she was abducted and later converted by Pir Ayub Jan at the Sarhandi shrine in Samaro and married off to one of her kidnapper, Nawaz Ali Shah. So these people, they're abducting, assaulting, raping, torturing women, and then they're not even getting any kind of punishment there. You want to say something?
Yeah, we are just trying to, what we are trying to make the awareness among the world, especially in America. Most of the population, I would say majority of public, are not aware what is going on with the minority, especially in Pakistan. So our idea is they should know, and U.S. government should try to put some pressure on Pakistan to give support, security to the minority committee. I mean minority population. Thank you.
And if you think about it as like we feel helpless, we want to do something for them, but we feel helpless. But it starts here. We can at least stand up here with our placards and make people aware, all these people who are going, all these people who are standing here with the hope that when we know about this, when we know that there are people who are suffering, we want to make others aware about this. Do you want to say something? Sure.
And my appeal to the people when they read these news and they feel sad. Okay. So I have an appeal to the people who are seeing this protest. I believe they have read a lot of these news. I think when they feel sad about reading this news, they should come in the real world also, and they should join this protest so that real world people see what's going on. And what doesn't stop in Facebook or WhatsApp. We should stand here together in support of humanity, in support of these minor kids, and raise voice against oppressive regime and oppressive ideology, which everybody knows but nobody talks about. And that's my message to everyone. Thank you.
Think about it. If it were your daughter and forced to convert just because of religion, what would you feel? What would you think? We stand in solidarity for the girls who are suffering. Let's make a change.
This seems to be a very unknown issue right now, but look at this board. What does it say? That there are certain girls which are based on just because of the religion, they are made to just get into slavery and then they are abused for that thing. Why? Because they're small, they're girls, and then they're Hindu girls. That's not humanity at any point of time. And this is what we all stand for here. Please, we are in the United States and we are here to make people aware of the situation. Please rise up and help us. Save the Indian girls, save the Hindu girls, save the minorities in Pakistan so they don't convert and they don't get abused. Help us, please.
All I want to say is that Pakistan should not touch any Hindu girls, into Hindu young kids, and to convert them into Islamic slaves in Pakistan. They were 23% Hindus in 1947 in Pakistan, and now it's only 2 to 3% Hindus in Pakistan. They are just forcing the young women to convert into Islam, which is totally. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, the world has to be aware of what's going on in Pakistan, and forced conversion has to be totally not even illegal. There should be action against Pakistan. Thank you.
We should stop this kind of Hindu conversion to the Islamic. Has to be stopped in Pakistan. We have to be very active about it.
old one. Start the speeches.
So I'm gonna put this live on Facebook on Bharat TV. Is that okay with you guys?
Yeah.
Is there like a speech going on? You're saying?
We're going to start it. Yeah.
I'll also get a picture. Give it to me. I'll just ask. Do I have one here? Are you still live? Is the sound on? Huh? Is it recording?
Bolo.
Is the mic on? Oh, okay. How long this can take?
Okay, good. Oh, looking good. That's good. Nice. Good, thank you.
Forced to live a life in hell and not, live the life that girls here or girls in most of the civilized world get to live. Having a family and having kids and living and being happy. These girls go on to live lives of hell, separated from their parents. Um, I think it's time that the whole world wakes up to the atrocities that are happening in Pakistan.
Thank you. You want to talk about the group that's putting this together?
This group is this is a group of Hindu organizations, women's rights organizations. These are organizations from all branches of life that come together for this idea of putting pressure on the U.S. government or any civilized government to hold Pakistan accountable for the lack of human rights in their country. If they're going to take foreign aid from the U.S. or U.K. or Australia or any of these countries, these governments have a duty to ensure that the money is being used for what it says it's being used for, and that the people in that country have the same rights that that they would want their own citizens to have.
Awesome. Thank you. So we're just gonna take a quick look at the protest here in downtown San Jose.
You have to get the kids. See, we don't get the kids and actually, I got a message from my brother in India.
Corona support करते तो Hindu girls in Pakistan.
Are there any speeches?
Sena bhavatu, seno phunaktu, sahaviryam karvavahe, jasnavade tamastu.
About what's going on. Starting from the project that was started, not too long ago, bring awareness of what's going on in the middle of Pakistan. We have all these groups from across the country, human rights groups, all have come together to put pressure on Pakistan to respect the human rights of not only the families living there, but of these little girls. They're snatched from their parents, raped, forcibly converted and married off to men that are much older than them, that have other families. So with that, I'd like to, we have a couple of stories of girls that have recently been taken, as well as statements from some of the organizations that are supporting this project.
Sorry, the sun is behind you. Can I just turn
Yeah.
it on?
Yeah, so maybe we should stand like this, then you'll get this in the background. And the sun will come better.
The lighting is much better.
Yeah.
You need to send me the thing.
Right?
We'll give you a paper. You don't want the paper?
Oh my God!
Everybody.
Yeah, let's gather together.
Everybody come together.
That's a put my phone there. Stick it to the box. Why do I go with this?
Otherwise, what's happening is they're getting all down now. The buildings come into that.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody come here. Just face. Okay, take this way.
I think sun direction.
Yeah, if everybody can come, everybody can come here.
All the younger kids in the front and taller people behind.
Come here.
Okay. Younger kids. Younger kids in the front. So everyone in the front. Dhruv, come in the front and you both, can you both sit down? Both sit down, kneel down, kneel down. Kneel down. Okay, you come this side. Okay, Rakhi ji, stand for you. Okay, can you come this side? Saraj ji, Ajay ji. Please, everyone join me. Okay, when we say, you are taking the photo. Is everyone coming?
Now, in the court, do not send me back to the shelter. I want to go to my parents, said Rico Kumari, a Hindu girl in Pakistan, as she sobbed, losing her life in front of her eyes. Her story from 2012 is an eye-opener account of the painful status of minorities in Pakistan. On the early morning of 24th Feb 2012, Rico Kumari, a 19-year-old girl, Hindu teenager, was abducted at a gunpoint from her house in Mirpur, Mathila. She was abducted by
got a phone call from the dog on the same day as her abduction. The, call, the caller said Rico is in the custody and had embraced Islam and married Delisha. The family was asked to come to virtually if they wanted to meet her, but not knowing the Dargah's culture, it was obvious what they would mean if they went there. Imagine how Rinko would have felt when she went to court with 500 of Myanmar's thugs carrying weapons surrounded her. Can we ever say that her statement was recorded out of free will? This incident witnessed widespread protest. Even a member of the U.S. Congress wrote a letter to Pakistan PM to look into it. However, this attention ended in an attack from Pakistan's government. We must stand up for Rinku Kumar and 1,000 of victims that have suffered since 2012.
I'm a mother. I'm a mother of a 10-year-old daughter. Mere thought of a scratch or a bruise to my daughter makes me restless and cringe. I cannot even start to comprehend what these mothers, parents, must be enduring. Thinking about what their daughters, innocent daughters of ages 12, 13, are going through at the hands of these brutal men. Rape, abuse, beatings, constant fear, being subjected to mental, emotional, psychological, and physical abuse all the time. I can't even think about it. I just shudder with the mere thought of what these parents are going through. Yesterday, I was talking to someone about this and how we are all getting together today to stand vigil, to stand with these unfortunate families. And I was shocked to hear the reaction of few people. Somebody asked me, do you think the Pakistani government and the officials don't know about this? Do you think a bunch of you protesting or standing vigil here would make any difference? Would make these people take any action? I was totally shocked by this reaction. Precisely that is the point here. That though the Pakistani government and officials are aware of this, they are doing nothing about it. And it kills me to think that my silence, my apathy, my acceptance and resignation of this fact, of this inaction, and my failure to urge my government here in the US to do something about it. It doesn't let me sleep at night. So here I am urging all of you. I'm urging my government in the US to do something about it. I'm standing here on behalf of Hindu Swayam Sevak Sangh USA. As a Hindu, I believe that the whole world is my family and I have a dharma towards every individual, every living being around me. And as an American, a nation which is built on the belief of freedom and justice for everybody, we are the torch bearers of the right to life and liberty. I think we are failing these girls, these minor girls who have not even seen their life, if we are not speaking up against this grave brutality. I urge the US government, I urge my fellow citizens. Actually, I'm choking with emotions and my eyes are welling up with tears. I urge everybody to raise their voice against this. I know this is hard. This is not easy. This change is going to be slow. This change is going to be full of challenges and is going to be with a cost. Yet, as Barack Obama said in his victory speech in 2008, together we can. Yes, we can. And we will bring this change. Thank you.
Neha loved the hymns that filled her church with music. She lost the chance to sing them last year when, at the age of 14, she was forcibly converted from Christianity to Islam and married to a 45-year-old man with children twice her age. He brought the gun to shoot me, said Neha, whose last name we will not be using for her safety. She said she was tricked into the marriage by her favorite aunt, who told Neha to accompany her to the hospital to see her sick son. Her aunt, Sandas Baloch, had converted to Islam years before and lived with her husband in the same apartment building as Neha's family. All, all Mama asked when we left was, "When will you be back?" Remember, Neha. Instead of going to the hospital, she was taken to the home of her aunt's in-laws and told she would marry her aunt's 45-year-old brother-in-law. I told her I can't. I am too young and I don't want to. He is old, Neha said. She slapped me and locked me up in a room. Neha told of being taken before two men, one who was said to be her husband and the other who reported her marriage. They said she was 19. She said she was too frightened to speak because her aunt threatened to harm her 2-year-old brother if she refused to marry. She learned of her conversion only when she was told to sign the marriage certificate with her new name, Fatima. For a week, she was locked in one room. Her new husband came to her on the first night. Tears stained her blue scarf as she remembered it. I screamed and cried all night. I have images in my mind that I can't scratch out, said Neha. I hate him. Neha's story is one of 1,000 each year. We must unite to save our girls.
So Amjad Nurani is part of the education. He's helping with the education reform in Pakistan. He sent a statement which Sanjeevani is going to read.
Okay, Amjad Nurani is an activist. He's an activist for education reform in Pakistan and an author of a recently published book on Pakistan's education, Agents of Change. He regrets that he cannot be at this event in person, but he is here in spirit to support the minority rights as an internal element of universal human rights. These are his personal views, and they do not represent any faith group or organization. This is his statement. I endorse the universal right to worship and religious belief entirely by personal choice. Forced conversation to a majority faith is categorically wrong and cannot be condoned. I believe that all members of all minorities are equal citizens and rightfully entitled to all fundamental freedoms on equal terms of citizenship. These are universally accepted principles and also guaranteed in the Constitution of Pakistan. I deplore and deeply regret the status of minorities in Pakistan, especially the forced conversion of young Hindu girls. Though channels for systematic education reforms in Pakistan, my colleagues and like-minded friends and I will continue to do our best to influence the freedoms and rights of minorities. Our reform efforts shall continue to demand and propose curriculum changes as part of core liberal studies and advocate for open conversation on religious tolerance and deeper learning of diverse cultures, minority faiths, and historical facts. I commend the work of Hindu organizations and thank you for your attention.
Thank you. Very good. Who's next? Do we have another narrative? We do.
So thank you everybody.
You want me to hold this?
Yeah. So I wish we were not gathered here today. This is not what most of us want to spend a Saturday evening doing, even on such a pleasant evening as today. However, we gather we must and speak we must because there are 1,000 minor girls ages 12 to 17 whose voices get silenced every year in the most brutal way possible.
I think most of us here are parents or we know girls of that age, ages 12 to 17. Think about what you were doing when you were that age group. Think about what your kids are doing. The last thing on your mind should be the fear of basic personal safety. The thought that your family can just be, and not just kidnappings, because I talk about this issue with a lot of people, and people try to divert it by saying, well, rapes happen here, kidnappings happen there, and yes, they do. There is no crime free society, but please remember, in almost every other society, it is the victim who can expect help from the police and from the judiciary, and it is the abductor who fears the police and judiciary. In Pakistan, we have the very weird situation where it is the police and judiciary who work on behalf of the abductors. And that is not okay. And that is why we are here. And that is why these girls' cries never get heard. The horror stories are endless. There are girls whose families fought their way all the way to the high courts of Pakistan, from district courts to high courts to Supreme Courts, and they still don't get justice. We've had travesties of justice where a judge has told a family that was able to prove that their daughter was a minor, and they said, well, she's had her first period. So please, she needs to go and live with her abductor. I tell you what justice is that. Which country does that happen in? Where an abductor gets help from the judiciary. And that is why we need cases. And in there are cases where the girls are separated from their family forever. There we have heartrending videos of parents begging, pleading, banging their head on the ground, asking to be granted a 2-minute audience with a loved daughter who 2 days ago lived with them full time, who they were responsible for full time. But that one simple act of being kidnapped and converted cuts the ties. And that's why I think I like to call it semi slavery, because it reminds me of the slavery that prevailed here, where family ties could be severed at the drop of a hat and there was no recourse. It was legal to do all of this. I implore everybody to go out and talk about this, to make sure that these girls' voices, we speak for them because nobody else says. We all need to call our city councilors, our congress people, our senators. We need to talk about this in our schools. We need to talk about this in our offices. There is no forum where this is a subject that should not be brought up. Let people be uncomfortable. Let them be unhappy. That is okay. Their unhappiness and discomfort is nothing compared to what these girls are facing. So I'm so glad everybody is here today, but we all need to act as a multiplier, and we can't forget about this. You know, today is not going to solve anything. We know that. So we all need to go back and share this, and next time come back with twice or thrice the people and have everybody call their lawmakers. I'm here representing an organization called Coalition of Hindus of North America, kona.org, and we are very proud to be partnering with Chingari and Hindu Pact on this topic. It's a heart-rending topic, and please share. There's lots of good information to help educate other people on this topic. They're heart-rending videos. Thank you so much. Namaste.
Arzu Raja was 13 when she disappeared from her home in central Karachi. The Christian girl's parents reported her missing and pleaded with the police to find her. 2 days later, officers reported back that she had been converted to Islam and was married to their 40-year-old Muslim neighbor. In Sindh province, the age of consent for marriage is 18 years old. Arzu's marriage certificate says she was 19. The cleric who performed Arzu's marriage, Qasi Ahmed Mufti Jan Rahimi, was later implicated in at least 3 other underage marriages. Despite facing an outstanding arrest warrant for solemnizing Arzu's marriage, he continued his practice in his ramshackle office above a wholesale rice market in downtown Karachi. When an Associated Press reporter arrived at his office, Rahimi fled down a side stair, according to a fellow cleric, Mullah Kaifat Ullah, one of a half a dozen clerics who also performs marriages in the complex. He said another cleric is already in jail for marrying children.
While Allah said he only married girls 18 and above, he argued that under Islamic law, a girl's wedding at the age of 14 or 15 is fine. Urdu's mother, Rita Raja, said police ignored the family's appeals until one day she was videotaped outside the court, sobbing and pleading for
daughter to be returned. The video went viral, creating a social media storm in Pakistan and prompting the authorities to step in. For 10 days, the parents were languishing between the police station and government authorities and different political parties. This year, the activists said, they are not being given any time until it went viral. That is the real unfortunate thing over here. Authorities have stepped in and arrested Arzu's husband, but her mother said her daughter still refuses to come home. Raj said she is afraid of her husband's family.
Thank you. Actually, we can just turn this side so that the cars can all. I just wanted to say that we see that this is the effect of lack of human rights in Pakistan. There's by many reports 5,000 to 7,000 Hindu, Christian, Sikh families flee Pakistan every single year, and we see what happens when they move to neighboring countries like India. And live in refugee camps for decades, where their kids can't get education and they can't live proper lives in Pakistan or outside of Pakistan. I want to ask Chandramohanji to. There's a documentary that was created to talk about the families living in refugee camps in India, in the conditions in which they live. The documentary is being screened here in about a month in the Bay Area. So I'll let Chandramohanji.
Thank you, Rakshi. We wanted to, I think we all know what's the problem that's happening in Pakistan. And you also know last year, Government of India passed Citizenship Amendment Act to give refugee status for the people who have come from Pakistan, right? And what's happened is the people have come to India, but they do not actually have a status, any ID card, they cannot go to school. And even after all that, there was a lot of protest against these acts that were passed to help the people. And a movie has been made on the life story of the people who actually moved from Pakistan. At the age of 90, they are moving. There's no real reason for them to move other than the kind of treatment that they're getting or to save their girls. So a movie has been made, and we want the documentary movie, which is very impactful, to be shown to the local council members, faith leaders, and maybe larger Hindu community, so we can create awareness about the status of these people, and we urge the governments and the local council members to take an action. We have a flyer here with a QR code. Please scan that and register yourself for the movie. We want to also ask you a help to reach out to the local council members or anybody, and we want to bring them into a theater where we want to show this movie potentially after November the 4th. So take this chance, go to the website, and please see whether you can reach out to a Jewish member, interfaith member, a local politician, anybody whom you think can influence to make a change, that they register for the movie. Based on registrations, we'll book a theater where the movie will be shown. Thank you.
Yeah, and we have created a Google Drive for all the photos and all that have been taken today. If you wouldn't mind uploading them to bit.ly/Chingari, CHINGARI 123. Thank you.
Say that again.
bit.ly/Chingari 123 is the bit drive. Oh, okay.
Every mother looks forward to planning the marriage of their daughter. Every father looks watching as their daughter blooms into adulthood. In Pakistan, 1,000 parents every year will never get the chance to send such a bold announcement. will never get the chance to send such a bold announcement on behalf of their daughters. Every year, 1,000 little girls of minority religions are abducted, sexually abused, and forcibly converted to Islam. In our complex world, the issues of human rights remain the most time-sensitive and critical. We want to make you aware of an ongoing perpetuating humanitarian crisis in Pakistan. The abduction, rape, and forced conversion of minority girls of religious minorities. Over the last few years, the rise of these abductions and forced conversions have reached alarming proportions. As a civilized society, we can no longer be mere bystanders. The Chagari project was born to bring Pakistan and positive action to the plight of these girls in Pakistan. The word Chagari means a spark of fire, a spark of hope, will shed light and lead to a serious call for change, protection, and resolution of this long-standing, burning crime against children and persecuted religious minorities. You and your involvement are a part of the solution to this humanitarian crisis. We need your help in demanding that the Pakistani government protect the children of religious minorities, and we need accountability from our own United States government, whose support may be misused to perpetuate these crimes. Thank you so much for your support.
Sorry, I chose someone who wants to say one thing.
Um, Hi, and I'm a 12-year-old living in the United States, going to school here, and I just can't imagine a school without just kids, right? Kids who face trauma. A school is not the same with kids who face trauma because they can't learn anything. Their life is just dead to them. So it's worse. It's like living hell. School is gone for them. The family life is gone. Basically, they're not living anymore, but they're living. They live without living. They live without doing any of the activities that a child does, an adult does, a human does. And this is why governments from around the world, democratic governments, governments in the United Nations, need to support this change. We need to help these girls get a better life in other countries, or better just extinguish this flame of despair and hope.
So we live in the United States of America, and the very principles, the very documents that govern our society is freedom. And one man that contributed greatly to our very documents is a man named John Locke, who defines freedom as the state of not being under the unconstant, unknown, uncertain, arbitrary will of another. Slavery is the exact opposite, the state of not being free. As citizens of the United States of America, is it not our job, is it not our duty to stand for those who are not free and who are subject to the unconstant, unknown, uncertain, and arbitrary will of another?
Thank you all for coming. We'll be here for a little bit longer, but or if anyone else has anything else.
Can you guys hear me? So I know I'm just a young college student, and there's only so much that young people can do to change the world. This is what I hear a lot, but the truth is that this is about humanity. This is about women and girls being oppressed in this is. I'm sorry. I just want to say that people are outraged about the wrong things. For those of you who say that Hindutva is the problem, where is your outrage on Hindu girls being forced to convert into Islam, forced to marry at the ages of 12 to 17? Where is your outrage? You guys have children too. If this was your child, what would you do? How high of a mountain would you climb for your child if this was your child? Thank you.
The core problem is the belief that my religion and my God is superior versus your copy. you are going to go to hell, irrespective what you do in on. That's called superiority complex, exclusivity complex, and that's so sickening. And that's why in interfaith marriages, what they do is that they get in love relation with you and then ask for religious conversion. And that's love jihad, the Sikh ideology. It's not only happening in Pakistan, it's happening right in San Jose. I am an interfaith consultant, marriage consultant, have guided 1,200 youth, written 2 books on it. It's going on everywhere, every corner of the world. So this is the Sikh mentality, asking people to change your religion for marriage. And that must be stopped, and that must be stopped right now. Best wishes.
Anybody else want to say anything? But otherwise, thank you so much for coming and supporting this initiative.